Are we? Let's gonna start, there we go. All set?
Mhm.
Okay, roll call, please.
Chair Gary Dello.
Yes.
Vice Chair Matt Schuler.
Yes.
Alder Randy Scannell.
Present.
Debbie Dean. Here. Kathy Hinkfus.
Here.
And Melanie Farmo.
Present.
All right, excellent. Approval of agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the agenda, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carried, thank you. Minutes
A
from.
motion to approve the minutes of October 10th, 2023.
Second.
Motion and second, Alderman Scannell and Kathy, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 All right, motion carried, thank you. Regular order of business. Number one, consideration possible action to approve a six-month planning option to Dana Capital for the property located at 1035 Vanderbilt Street and parking lot on the corner of Clay and Vanderbilt Street.
That's gonna be me.
Oh, Rhonda.
Yep, I'm gonna stand up here just. This is a big project and we're really excited about it. So, if you guys remember, right, back in the end of December, we purchased 1035 Vanderbilt, that used to be the old Zozo's building, Eagles Club, that thing. Our plan at that time was to create a community center out of it. We did our due diligence and spent a lot of time trying to get estimates of getting that building renovated. And due to the cost of it, the cost just came in really, really high. So at that time, we decided that we should raise the property and RFP out to create additional housing. So back in August, we sent out a request for proposal for the site at 1035 Vanderbilt, which will be, it's in your packet, actually, the GIS site. Sorry about that. Is the corner of Vanderbilt and Wheezy Street, which the other side backs up to Webster. Right across the street is Clay Street parking lot and Vanderbilt. So this first slide that you're seeing, let me pull that back. With our requirement at that time was that we wanted to do mixed income attached residential units, but at least 51% of them needed to be affordable housing, because we did use federal funds when we purchased the property. So we were following HUD's guidelines on that. We did receive a proposal from Dana Capital for the development of 52 affordable residential units across the mix of two buildings. So will be 1, 2, and 3 bedroom layouts. So the one to the left you can see is the building A, that will be 36 units, 3 stories. So the first picture shows the underground, that will be underground heated garage. The one right next to it will be the additional stories with the bedrooms, with the individual units. The main floor, they're looking to do a community facility in there as well. Okay. The second one, which would be the corner one over here on, yep, right where she's got the cursor, that's where the parking lot would go. That would be stackable townhomes. Okay, so that in there would be 16 townhome style units, with the parking being and detached garage being facing away from Vanderbilt. Okay, they're also providing ample storing parking, so you can see where they have different surface stalls and things like that. You can change that if you want. Stephanie, thank you. They're looking to add additional street lighting, accessible pedestrian walkways, bike racks to enhance the project. As you can see, they have the surface stalls for building A, the 3-story building, heading up directly to the Webster Ave, with the play area and the entrance be coming off of Wheezy Street onto North Clay and entering into the underground parking at that point. Building 2, 16 units. 50 of the 52 units, 44 will be fully visible, with 5% of them being fully ADA accessible, meaning 0 step entrances, accessible, ADA accessible restrooms, wider doors, lower counters, sinks, and things like that. They are planning to use Horizon Management Services for marketing of the property. They have developed. Horizon Development Group has developed over 100 projects with 5,000 different housing units producing over 600 million. Big company. They are looking to apply for 4% state and federal low-income WIDA housing credits, but they will be looking for additional home funds, ARPA funds, and TIF funds if they are available. Dana Capital is a minority-owned Wisconsin-based affordable housing development that was founded in 2020 and specializes in affordable market rate, mixed use, and commercial development. Staff did go through the entire thing. This was our only proposal that came through from the RFP that was sent out. We did get together, we did score it. And at this time, we are recommending that we offer a 6-month planning option for them to do their due diligence in proceeding with the development of this site. One of the things I wanted to, that I guess I didn't add in the report, that something that staff kind of saw as possibly a recommendation, wasn't a deal breaker, but we were recommending that the play area on this side and the accessible patio possibly would be bought closer to North Clay and the building lining up a little bit more with Webster. So I wanted to add that in there. We do have Luke, who is from Dana Capital. He is here. So if you guys wanted to ask any questions or you want to open the floor, they're more than happy to join in. Scott from Horizon Development is also available. He would be able to answer any questions as well.
So the commitment from the city is the land itself.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they would be looking for an ask from home funds, ARPA funds. We don't know what the actual gap is going to be at this time.
At this point, it's just the planning option.
Yep.
Okay, right.
After that part, we'll
That's true.
understand what the gap is and what the.
Good point, Matt.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Is Sally Martiniak ever gonna retire?
No, I don't think so.
Motion open the floor.
No,
Sorry.
Second.
she's doing really well. And she's good.
Yeah.
There's a motion and a second to open the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Sorry.
Carry. Now you can ask.
Now I can ask a question.
Yeah.
No, I've worked with Sally throughout the years.
Okay.
on Many different things.
Yeah, she's a good.
I'm a-
friend. She's an advisor. so-
I'm a former WIDA employee. so
Oh, awesome. You have a good idea of all this,
I do.
all this fun stuff that we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Before we go into questions, then I wanted to move to the next screen. The next screen kind of goes over what their projected concept is for the units and the townhomes, kind of things that they see that they could be using for the facade and the total build there. But if you guys have any questions, free to ask Luke or Scott who are available. Luke, you can pop up if you want to.
So you've been formed for 2020. How many projects have you done since then?
7 allocations, so we have 4 that are closed, 7 that have been given. So we've had pretty good success in the first 3 years. Thank you. Yeah.
Questions?
When I have.
Mr. Mayor, please.
Yeah. Thanks, Chair. Really appreciate the proposal.
Thank you.
Was just curious about on the tax credit
Mhm.
side of things.
Yeah.
I know the timeline would be really tight for competitive 9% tax credits, but was just curious if that was contemplated at all and the reasoning for going for the 4% instead.
Yeah, so if we do a 4% deal, we can do fully affordable, 100% affordable. And so we felt that that was a good option here.
Okay.
But, similar timeline, so the timeline is the same for,
Oh, it is.
yeah, it's competitive for. It's not just a bottom four.
Okay.
It's competitive. Yeah. It was the same timeline, it's just we felt that, doing fully affordable here, we could, that would be a good option.
Okay.
And Luke, if I can add to that, I'm Scott Kwasinski, everybody from Horizon. It's a real pleasure to meet you and thanks for considering this proposal. Just to add to what Luke is mentioning there, we would be applying for state and federal tax credits through the 4% program. So the state component of that is what creates the competitive nature. The federal is just a threshold requirement, but We would be applying for the state credit and that follows the same timeline as the 9%, just like Luke mentioned.
Good. Any other questions? Okay, oh.
No, no.
She did a good job, no question.
Maybe one more.
Yeah, sure.
And obviously, you know, this is very early stages, but I don't see stormwater represented there, and so I was just curious if you have thoughts on
Yeah.
how.
I think that we definitely have to figure that out as we
Yep.
go. At this point, we don't have it figured out, but I think as we go down the road, that will be something that we can dive deep into and figure it out.
Be careful.
Just a comment more than anything else. Right across Webster Street there is Paul's Pantry. Paul's Pantry is now serving about 1,000 families a week.
Really,
Who could probably really benefit from affordable housing. So just a thought as we think about partnerships, ways to bring those two things together. Love the location. Love the concept of that and how well those two things could work together and what they could both, Paul's is already doing in the community and what this could happen.
yeah, definitely. And Scott and I just had a conversation with Patrick, Brown County Housing Authority about project-based vouchers potentially. And so he was positive about it, I would say. So if we can get project-based vouchers, I believe that would help that type of population in a big way. So,
I think the possible designs are really nice.
Yeah, I think it looks great.
Yeah, that's great.
yes, I think it will be a cool project we can do. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
It's definitely an area of the city that could use some improvements, that's great.
yes.
Absolutely.
So I'll make a motion.
Oh, but-
Okay, well,
Okay, oh, that's right.
You can do that.
I can make a motion to close the floor.
Second.
Motion and a second to close the floor, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Motion to
So
approve.
Thank you.
What did you want to do?
I'll make a motion to get, or for the 6-month planning option.
Second.
Okay, motion by Kathy, second by Alderman Crandall. Any questions or comments regarding the motion?
No, but thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, it works out.
Yes.
Thank you.
All those all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Great job, Ron.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Great job, Rhonda. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. There you go, there you go. Number 2, consideration of possible action to approve a 3-month extension to the planning option to Cherry State Properties for the lot located at 436 South Monroe Avenue.
That's gonna be me again.
Rhonda,
Yeah, so originally we approved, RDA approved a planning option. In May of this year to Cherry Faith Properties for the development of 4-story mixed-use building with 33 residential units. Since that time, we did give them 1 3-month extension to that planning option. This is the site that's located at 436 Monroe, right on the corner of Monroe and Chicago. Due to recent interest hikes and the developer did get some additional costs and things in. He needs some additional time to possibly do some budget cuts and some competitive bidding, because the higher interest rates, means a little more cutting and things like that. So at this time, they are requesting an additional 3-month extension. We had no problem with it as staff, as they're still working and on track for the February 2024 groundbreaking.
still optimistic about the project?
Yep, we are.
Matt, I have a question on motion to open the floor.
Okay, motion open the floor.
Second.
Motion and second open the floor.
Dewan is here, yep.
I saw that.
Finally. So, yeah, so, when we kind of started with this project, we had a, projected $7.1 million budget, right? And this was before the, interest rate changed. As soon as the rate changed now, banks started, less or investing less in certain projects and things like that. So we originally had a banker lined up with People's State Bank. Matthew, he kind of contacted me back and said, hey, we were looking to do 80% loan to value. We can only go down to, 50% loan to value now. So Yeah, very, very, very big change. So then we have to go back to the drawing board. We, as in my general contractor and architect and design team, and say, okay, how can we cut to at least, $6.5 million, right? So if you take a look at the original designs, you'll see a lot of the balconies. Well, unfortunately, you won't see those balconies anymore, right? Because that's a huge spend. I believe those are about 7,700 plus 1,000 installation fee. So unfortunately, it's just part of, cutting, so it was a very unfortunate to begin with, but we're still optimistic. We will make that date. We finally found a banker with Abbey Bank. So I'm working with Christopher Newson, which I believe he's also on this call as well too. And so we've talked about the project. He can underwrite it in about 2 weeks. So in terms of getting all the materials so that we can get the commitment letter, right? We want to make sure that, excuse me, I'm a little bit nasally as well too. So, thank you, Wisconsin. But yeah, so so we'll get the commitment letter. We feel very confident that we'll get it in that time frame. The reason why we're asking, just to kind of get down to the brass tacks of things, the reason why we're asking for the extension is that will finally get us to the finish line, right? It's going through hard competitive bidding as we speak. My general contractor said that they've sent that out to about 300 plus bid to kind of get bids on that. So we should be able to get hard numbers on that before the end of this month. We do have 50% design plans, and I believe I shared that with Rhonda as well too. So once again, we feel pretty optimistic. It's just we have to go back and change a few things, right? That's just the environment that we're living in. And that process was essentially me calling numerous banks, and banks basically saying, hey, we're not doing it. Here's a referral. Here's another referral. And obviously that referral sent me to Abbey Bank. So I would say the month of really the last 2 months have just been on the phone with bankers and saying, hey, I have this project. We have a 90-day planning option with the city. The city supports it, right? We just need to find a banker. Well, a banker don't want to lend on that, then it's basically, going back to, that starting point. So now that we have a banker's confident, they would like to do the project. Now we just need this time to, for the banker to do their due diligence, take the pro forma, things like that. And then obviously get me that commitment letter that I need to send to, the people I need to send that to. So it's been a lot of hard work, as you can, obviously see, but we finally got to a point where, we got to commit, or we will have a commitment letter. And obviously we made the cuts that is necessary. So.
I appreciate you working hard on it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And do you think just taking the balcony, that'll pretty much do it, or you can?
Well, it was that and a few, we had to change some materials as well too, but yes, yeah. So.
That's what I was most curious about, what kind of cut the work. So.
Oh, yeah, so materials was one and the balconies was essentially, yes, so.
The number of units, total units hasn't changed?
No, that has not changed. So.
And you said your lender is on.
Yes,
So the lender was
Christopher.
online.
Yes, should be on.
Yes, I'm on.
Oh, okay, perfect. Oh,
Okay.
perfect.
If you had any questions.
And with the extension of the 90 days, what's the thought about what groundbreaking would be?
February 5th. So we're still on track to do February 5th.
Okay.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So the exterior will look like this except for the balconies? You think?
Yes. It just without the balconies. Yes.
That's reality.
Yeah, it's reality.
What can you do?
Yeah.
Questions or comments for the developer?
No, thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
Motion go back to regular.
Motion to close it to the floor.
Second.
Motion a second to close the floor. All those in favor, somebody saying aye?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, what's the desire of the group?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Kathy to approve the 90-day, right? 90-day extension?
To approve the
Yeah,
3 month.
3 month extension, sorry, yes. Questions or comments in regard to the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Excellent. Number 3, consideration with possible action to approve up to 65,000 of, yeah, I'm not sure.
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
Ta-da, there you go, ta-da. funding for community land trust consulting services.
Okay, that's
Carol.
me, and actually, we have Noel Halverson here from NeighborWorks, they're one of our partners on this project, along with them working with the mayor's office. But so community land trust, it's a new concept for us in the city, we haven't done that. It's, what it does is it's a way to guarantee affordable housing, stays affordable for a long period of time. So the trust owns the land. The person buys the house, they don't buy the land, and they just buy the house, they live in the town that they want, they give it to the heirs, but at the point that they sell it, they either need to work it back to the entity that holds the land or sell it to someone who's qualified. So there's a lot of nuances in a land trust. They can be set up in different ways, different boards and different entities. But one of the things we like to do is look at creating a land trust in this area. Because I think it's, when you look at guaranteeing that affordable housing market, this is really one of the true ways to be able to do that for a longer period of time. That's trust, like, kind of in a nutshell. And I don't know, Noel, if you wanted to, Noel, we've been working closely with NeighborWorks. We've also met with Habitat on this as well, as entities that do new housing construction for affordability. You know, and how we set that up. Noel has actually had some experience working on trust as well.
So we can trust them.
I think we can trust.
A motion to open the floor.
Motion to open the floor.
Second.
Second by Matt, on the scale, second by Matt, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Read.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, Cheryl said it in a nutshell, I think. Many years ago, I remember having a conversation with our future mayor at the time, talking about land trusts, and it seemed to me that maybe that wasn't the tool that we needed in our toolbox in Green Bay. I said, that's something that, you know, needs to be in hot markets or crazy unpredictable real estate markets, not necessarily, you know, in stable, you know, low appreciating markets like Green Bay, but that's all changed. And the real estate market is a lot different than it was years ago. We've got a lot of families that are seeing, you know, housing, home ownership, you know, moving further and further out of reach. Prices have gone up considerably. Interest rates, as we just heard on the last item, you know, have gone up and are making, you know, home ownership even less affordable for some folks. So community land trusts, I think, are a tool that Green Bay needs to have in its toolbox at this time. And they are a way to take, you know, the home dollars or the community development block grant dollars or the TDA funds or the other resources that you've accumulated and are leveraging to make an impact in this community, to have that impact last longer. When you subsidize a project that's going to be in a trust, that subsidy continues to work forever. Because of the restrictions Cheryl mentioned, when you buy that home, you are agreeing to a set of principles and restrictions on how the sale of that home is going to occur. And the family that purchases that home or the household that purchases that home understands that they're going to see just a piece of the market appreciation that'll occur over time on that house. So if the value of the home goes up by $100,000 over the life of their ownership of it, they're not necessarily going to get to realize $100,000 of market appreciation when they sell it. They'll get to, you know, bear the benefit of all of the amortization of the mortgage that they had, the equity that they built by paying off their home loan. They'll realize that if they put some improvements into that property that increase the value of it, there'll be a mechanism for them to realize that. But there'll be some restriction on that appreciation so that when they sell it, they'll be selling it either to the next buyer who qualifies or back to the trust itself, who will then remarket it. And that property will be sold perhaps then for less than market value, because that subsidy that originally went into to make it affordable is going to continue to make it affordable for that next purchaser and the one after that and the one after that. Not to say there won't be some additional need for buyer subsidy at the second or third iterations of this thing, but it won't be the construction subsidy plus the buyer subsidy plus, you know, all that stuff every single time that property changes hands. It'll stay affordable and it'll be a lot easier hit for that family to take on and keep that home permanently affordable for a modest income household in our community.
I take it this concept's been used in lots of other communities.
Yeah, some of the more famous ones were out in Vermont. It was where a lot of these things started. They've been really successful in resort communities and in high cost vacation communities as a means to keep the housing affordable for the community service providers and local government officials and others that need to live in those communities where the prices might be getting out of control because of the market demand. It's a tool that Door County uses to maintain affordability. They've gotten started with it just up there the past few years, and they've got 4 homes in their trust and growing that. And again, I think it's time for Green Bay to have a similar tool, and we'd like to help build that with you.
Joanne, any concerns from legal perspective? Okay. So what are the risks or downfalls for the city? I mean, like, why would we do it?
Well, I think this money would be set aside for us to hire a consultant to work with us to determine, do we have a market for that in this area, right? Get the stakeholders involved to do some of that exploration. How would we set this up? Would it be a separate entity? Would it be the city? To do all that fact finding and to determine if we wanted to move forward and actually create this. So, I mean, right now, I think Madison and Milwaukee have one as well. That is working. So, I mean, I think it's an opportunity for us to take a look at something that might ensure that affordability for a lot of people.
And do the trust work such that you set aside like a big plot of land, or is it literally done like lot by lot? Yes, this one is in land trust, this one is not, this one is.
Both ways.
Both, it just depends on how it's designated from the start.
You can leave their home through trust.
Yep.
A lot of different things.
Yeah, they can enter the trust through donation, other gift. The city, I think you've got a report on RDA owned properties coming up in the agenda here. You might want to allocate some of those for a trust. And I would note too that NeighborWorks Green Bay is interested in pursuing developing community land trusts as a program. And as a community housing development organization, or CHODO, which is a designation that the city has made of our organization, that governance structure that we have is actually appropriate for the governance structure of a community land trust. And so some of that work in a sense is already done, and we could end up leveraging capacity that we already have in the community to put this thing together.
I think you and I went to a week-long training institute in New Orleans on community planners.
Yeah, I've had a number of trainings over the years as it relates to community land trust. The basic handbook for starting one is only 500-600 pages, so it's really folks will say, if you've seen one land trust, you've seen one land trust. They are something that you create to meet the needs of your own community. There are different ways to handle that appreciation factor in the changes in value, and a host of other decisions that need to be made, of course, as you're setting one of these things up. We're confident that in partnership with the city and a consultant, that we'd be able to ask the right questions, get some answers, and put a viable plan together.
Just real quick, I mean, I think that the answer to your question, what's the downside, is really Noel's last comment, which is the complexity of it. That's probably why we haven't done this as a community to this point, is because it is pretty complex, and you've got to spend some time figuring out the best way to design it and set it up. Yeah, very confident with the amount of money that is on the table here. We're going to be able to find the right partner to do that.
Yeah, and I'm super supportive of that as well. It just seems to me like the kind of thing going to have a bunch of unintended consequences, because you're setting something up new and it's about perpetuity. And what happens over time if this appreciates at 3%, but the properties around it appreciate at 10%? And does that cause something we can't contemplate now? That's what I'm really interested in hearing from the consultant. Is what are those things as you're starting to deal with perpetuities?
Yeah, and I would say certainly other trusts have encountered things like, well, how does this impact appraisals and things like that? And there are ways to address that so that you don't have that restriction on the sale price actually damaging, the market appraisals in that community or something like that. There's lots of ways to handle those things, and obviously lots of details under the hood that you've got to stay on top of.
And I wouldn't want a program that de-incentivized incentivizes
Incentivize.
an owner from wanting to improve and maintain their property.
Yeah, that's the piece that I'm struggling with.
Ideally,
But
so,
it'll be-
yeah,
Let's get all the answers.
the mechanism is one where ideally you're serving a household whose only other option is renting. You know, if somebody can compete for a home in the conventional real estate market, then they're not a community land trust customer prospect. You're looking at folks who might otherwise only ever rent and never build equity. And so for that family, the trust is a great solution because it gets them into a home and maybe they stay there 10 years and then they sell that home and then they use the equity they've accumulated to then compete for another home in the conventional market. But if they can get there, you know, from the get-go, we wouldn't advise them to go into a trust home.
And also in that situation, if you had a family or an individual who wasn't necessarily maintaining the home to the standards that we'd like to see once that home turns over, you know, some of the equity that's been built up as a result of that would actually go into making those improvements and making it marketable so that when you sell it, it is in good condition and is going to be, you know, attractive to somebody.
And the fundamental character of the trust, if I might add, you're buying the house, but you're leasing the land.
Right.
And so that ground lease has other rules and stipulations in there that are going to be about upkeep of the property. They're going to be about, you know, all the details of this. And so there's a relationship between the trust and the families that occupying those properties that lasts for the duration of their occupancy and ownership of that home, to make sure that they don't go off the rails, that the house stays an asset in the neighborhood and that they don't get into trouble financially as they're, you know, in that situation.
So ground rules really are ground rules.
Indeed.
Any other questions for Noel? Not motion, back right order.
Motion, just close it to the floor.
Thank you, Noel.
Second.
Alderman Scannell, second by Matt, all in favor, going back to regular business.
Aye.
That's your wish, Dave.
Motion.
Second.
What, I'm sorry, got middle, what's it?
Debbie.
No,
Debbie
I
did.
make a.
Debbie,
motion
sorry,
to
Debbie. I'm sorry.
Approve the action to approve up to $65,000. For the funding of community land trust consultant services.
Thank you, Debbie. Second, by Alderman Scannell.
Yeah. Now, do we send out an RFP to get it? Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Questions or comments in regard to the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Very good, thank you. Excellent. Something brand new and exciting.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, informational. The financial report, the check register, I did not have any questions, I don't know if anybody else did. If not, Rhonda.
Yep.
Current RDA owned properties. This is kind of nice, get the visual here.
Yeah, so thanks, Gary. We actually own RDA properties are 132 parcels. I'm actively are marketing for development 30 parcels. 21 of them are physically on our website at this time. 9 of them are lots that just recently came out of that floodplain in June. And we've been discussing some of those parcels being part of this land trust thing. So but until we have that land trust going and things like that, we will be fully marketing those 9 parcels as well. Never know. On hold, by on hold, I mean, these are properties that are being used by the community police, rotating arts, currently leased parcels like the UW community gardens. Additional research is needed as for infrastructure, things like that. So those are the 66 parcels. Includes River Edge Apartments where they own the building. We lease the land to them. The storage garage, the Veterans Memorial Parkway, KI Center, and any lot parcels we have along the East River Trail. 36 parcels are currently in the planning option or development stage. 22 of them are actually in planning options and moving forward. A couple of them are ones that we spoke about today. Active development agreements are 12 of them, and I did go out and get some pictures of some of them that have been created this year, some of them that are still in progress.
You never see the end product.
I know.
No, this is
Show some
great to
pictures
see
of
that.
them.
Especially, NeighborWorks is always working with their Bridges construction program. And it's great to see what these, these high school kids do put together and how they're able to stream this with the school and NeighborWorks. All these 3 homes right here have been sold. You can go ahead. Yep, that's okay. Those have been sold. The new hall was done by Lament's Construction, as you guys are familiar with, does quite a bit of things with us. And then there are some bigger developments that we have. Jazz House, which we just got an email today that they're gonna be doing their open house December 7th. And ribbon cutting, so that's moving along very quickly. And then, of course, the City East Apartments on the 1100 block of Walnut Street, which was a combination of 8 parcels. We combined it into one large parcel, and now we have the beginnings of that. And then on the next screen, you'll see some more Bridges construction, the 2 lots for the semester, for the school year this year, 1162 Day and 1164 Day Street are proceeding.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm
Awesome.
super excited about that. We do have 5 parcels that were recently held out for RFPs, and those are gonna be the JBS build or RFP that we have out there, and then including the one that we had out there for Vanderbrack until we had RDA approval. During the year, we have disposed of 17 parcels. And some of those are a combination, like I said, that 1100 block where we combined it into one. Jazz House, we combined 3 into 1. And we only acquired 1 property, which we acquired from the city. It is we took it as a surplus property. NeighborWorks already has a planning option on it for a single family build. So we're actively marketing our parcels and see a lot of future growth coming.
What's impressive is getting a lot of these back in the tax rolls. I mean,
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't take much to, once these are completed, for them to be sold.
Very encouraging. Questions for Rhonda? Nice report.
Very nice.
Very clear.
Thank you.
Keep up great work. You're a busy young lady, at least. Keep it up. Thank you. Next agenda item, director's report and project updates.
Yeah, I think on the director's report, finance director, you want to talk about.
Yes.
bid updates.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't get that in the packet. Just want to give you some visual and work off of. So the spreadsheet that was handed out is the same information that Stephanie has helped me put together for the annual report that's required by Department of Revenue. And so it was really through the end of 2022, but it was due by July 1st. This is at a high level. These are our 15 active TIDs. Here's the name, the type, creation date, the mandatory term date. And then the next box, it'll show you the fund balance, which would have been at the beginning of beginning of 2022, and then 3/4 of the way through, it's the ending balance. It kind of shows you the large revenue sources, the large expenditure sources. Then it also talks about any future grants or costs and revenue that we expect to have, and then roughly where we think this TID will end in the future. If you want, I can get some very highlights on this. TID 4 has a mandatory term date of end of 2025, beginning of 2025, so that wouldn't only has about 1.5 years left on life in it. If you go through, one of the larger expenses in there was we had $1 million that got transferred to the shipyard TID, because there was some additional funds left in that TID. If we go to the second item, TID 5, that one has a mandatory close date of 2026. So again, not a lot of life left in there, but what's being paid out of this one is we're improving Lake Park with the TID 5 balance that's left in this fund. That's where we're getting some of the nice improvements into the Lake Park. Tip 10, is your next one. That one, at this point, there is a positive fund balance. It looks like it's, doesn't have a lot of expenses left in there. We're looking to either put some other, either development or some storm and street improvements in with the remaining balance until that one closes.
I think that's also that's the Habitat Street Hill.
Yes.
The 10, right?
Yep.
For the Bryan project.
Okay,
We keep going to 12 is our next, our most successful one, and that one will close in the next couple of years. At this point, it had has a positive fund balance of over $4 million. We recently, last year, transferred out $2 million to the shipyard, TID to help try to keep that one afloat. This one, we will expect that before we close it, that we'll have additional dollars that we can transfer to another TID to help, because this one's been successful to help another TID, probably back to the shipyard again.
okay.
TID 13 is our downtown TID. At that point, this one, it had a negative fund balance at the beginning of the year, right around 2 million. It was by the end of the year, it was down to about 886,000 by the end of 2024. And we expect that one to turn positive. Really, it's just a lot of the, just activity we have going on downtown. You expect that there's gonna be some additional money by the time this one closes, and that we probably put toward a ramp downtown. 14 is our rail yard. That one has a negative fund balance, about 2.8 million. It is staying about the same. It's at this point without, we really need some things to finish in the rail yard. And so when the port finishes, we'll start getting some additional increment in that TID. 16 military, really nothing much going on there. Bringing in about the same amount that it has for expenses. So really that was just continuing to move forward. TID 18 is the one that is our University Avenue. At this point, it was a larger negative due to the large upfront payments that were done, given it originally to the JVS project. Now that TuneIn has taken over, we're hoping to see some increment come in the next couple of years. And so, but we're slowly bringing down that negative fund balance. 19 is your East Town Mall. At that point, it's got a small positive fund balance. We did pay out a larger development payment of 450,000 in last year. Still leaving it as a positive fund balance, but either way, that one is still moving along just fine with the new increment that we're seeing in that TID. Whitney Park is a straight pay-go. At that point, it's got a small positive fund balance and it grew slightly in 2022. Green Bay Packaging is also going to be a very successful TID for us. It's really only a pay-go, and the pay-go is only a portion of the amount that's coming in for increment. We are also using those dollars to also help pay for some storage for some of our
Badger sheet metal.
replacement. Thank you, Cheryl.
We tear that down, we have to move for 7 minutes. We can set that down.
As we keep going, going to 2022. 22 is your shipyard. Again, that looks like it has a positive fund balance, which it does because we continue to borrow and we haven't quite, we don't spend it as fast as we're borrowing it. There also was $3 million that was transferred in from 2 of the other TIDs. At this point, we still have an open purchase order with Peters Concrete to finish that walkway. So we're still in phase 1, and of course, hoping and looking forward to moving to phase 2 in the shipyard. And the last 3 are brand new TIDs in 2022, so very little activity. Obviously 25 is your carnivore, which is almost going to be, it's complete. So as of 1/1/2024, we should have some nice increment that's going to be in that TID. So again, that one also is a pay-go only. So that will be a nice TID that can help bring some additional dollars in to help improve the east side of Green Bay. One thing I wanted to see in total, if you see at the bottom of the first column, we were at about 8.6 million. By the time the end of 2022 came around, it was up to 10.2 million. So in the last couple of years, we went from overall all TIDs being negative of 1.6 million by 2020 to the end of 2022 being at a positive 10.2 million. So really some of the strategy that, some former directors put in place and some of just the market, we've been able to have our TIDs are really starting to come around and show some positive. The good ones are able to help the ones that need a little more support. Any other questions on this page? I have 2 other comments I was going to make.
Please.
Just that I know one of the things that people always get asked is, there's the value limitation report, which means that you can go up to 12% of our equalized to be in TIDs. As the end of, for 2023, we are at 6.2% of the 12%, just saying we still have more capacity if and when we wanna have more, open more TIDs, or have more, basically, really, we just have capacity to, for TIDs. Then one other item question that I think Gary would wanna know too is overall, at this point, at the end of 2023 here, we have still a remaining balance of about $38 million outstanding in debt. And really the drivers are your TID 13 still has outstanding about $14 million in debt. TID 14, which is your rail yard, is about $4 million. Shipyard right now currently has outstanding about $10 million in debt, and then TID 5 from some older projects has a remaining balance of about $4 million. So that is where our TIDs are at. Again, this is an annual report. Man, I think we're just seeing we're really seeing some nice dollars coming in. We're really the tool it's really starting to help the city being able to use this this tool for development.
Yes.
Any questions?
Yeah. Years ago, we were unable to go from one TID to another and help the other TID out. That's been a real positive, hasn't it? Being able to help the TIDs are more really.
Yep, yeah, I'm not sure, since I've been here, we've been able to transfer dollars, well, part of it, we just didn't have positive fund balance really getting into our TIDs, right? And so we really just starting to see the impact of that positive, so yeah, we were able to transfer 3 million last year, I think the year before, there was some dollars transferred, and I do expect that we'll be able to transfer again in 23 to 24 from some of these TIDs before they close. 4, 5, and 10 are the next ones, or 12, and those are the ones that are gonna be closing soon. And they'll still have some positive balance that could, again, probably help out the TID 22, or the other negative one is your TID 14, which is also with your rail yard.
Great.
Any questions, any on this?
I think it was last year, we had lots of activity between the kids, etc. Do you see some big changes coming up in your future?
Activity?
Well, obviously 14 is gonna need some help. But there's others that you can help 14 with, right? Is that the one that gives you the most hard for 14?
Yeah, it does, it's just the delay in the increment that we're just, waiting on more increment. When the fort finishes, that's gonna help.
Yes.
And so that's really the one that, we have some dollars up front and that was spent on this one. So we just move things finished and the increment come in. As Stephanie reminded me that in 2022, we also had a revaluation. And that did, in many cases, negatively impact our TIDs. Just overall, residential went up faster than commercial. So being most of our TIDs are commercial, in some cases, we saw the increment drop or stays the same, but then the mill rate drops. So the increment that we received into these TIDs from one year to the next, really January 1st of 2023, really was lower than we had really in our cash flows prior to that.
Right.
Because it would have been difficult to anticipate that was going to happen, but as we continue to have this growth, again, you only have 2 right now that are really in a negative situation. One will come out probably by the end of this year. So I mean, they're looking good. And again, I think it's the strategy that was put in place a few years ago, more the pay-goes.
Yep.
Yeah. And we were not as dire, really, we had a couple of years of, where it was good in the commercial market.
Yeah, yes. Overall, good news.
Yes, yes.
Very much. Keep up pretty good. Questions or comments for Deanna? Great report. Thank you. Great update.
And I just have a few things, Matthew Cannon is an official deputy development director.
Where are the balloons?
Yeah.
Great.
Get you one.
We'll make you one. We'll make you
You used to be able to just run the praise or us.
Yeah.
Now you'll see that one. Fix our meetings, and then also kudos to our city council for unanimously passing the budget.
Yes.
In a record time.
Yes.
45 minutes, which is the bomb. Thank you.
I'm gonna take credit for that.
45 minutes.
You should, Randy.
And
It was great.
Wow.
I
And recognizing the importance of keeping every people, our staff, it's very, very critical.
Yes, our department was also able, we will be hiring a new neighborhood compliance inspector that will handle short-term rentals and sign permits. So, that's kind of an untapped resource for us with regards to making sure permits are in place.
Yes.
We'll be doing that. And then our principal planner also was reclassified as a supervisor now, will be overseeing our planners. how their processes and when they're kind of the way we had it a while ago, we're pretty much that way. So those are some staff changes that took place. That'll be great for our department. So we only have one position to fill, which is not a position, and we'll be fully staffed, which is great.
Very good.
Sent the list of projects out to you. You know, we continue to work on them all. I don't think we have any really announcements on any of them.
Probably next month.
Hoping to bring a couple back in December. But across the board, people are looking at reappraisals, filling gaps, value engineering construction, all of these things to make these projects work. So we continue to work on that. We have a number of housing projects, of course, that we need construction. With Riverwoods. So I think next month we'll bring Michelle and Schumacher back.
Yep, and they've made big progress, so
Nice.
we're very excited about where it's going.
Excellent.
That's a big one.
They didn't
They may need a little bit more time to figure it all out, but they've made.
But they're at the table.
Yeah.
Very good.
What about the townhouses and apartments for Monroe? By the library?
Are the ones we own or the ones that come bought? Are you talking?
No, not.
Like our
across
property, the Macam project.
The Macam.
Yeah.
Still working on that, still trying to get the value engineer. We did have a meeting with Tara. From the grocery store, because we wanted to make sure we're staying in contact with her. So if this project goes awry, we still want that grocery store, so we are working with them.
Oh, very good. Very good. We
Tara is
very much.
Very young. Her parents own the main owners of the grocery store.
And there's one.
Yeah.
I prefer a week to arrive, but
Just a couple of comments on the developments, right, just from seeing stuff like that. The fort.
Yeah.
It really looks impressive. When you pull in that parking lot there around by Tap Room or
Right.
whatever business in there we want.
Or you come across the bridge, you know, like, wow.
Just the
Wow.
size and scale of it, like, hey, really impressive, looks great. Great to see City East Apartments. And it was in the picture running, so thank you as well. I saw that this week and that looked great. The other one was, and it's in here listed as Bangkok Gardens, but okay, that's in there now.
Yep, Corkton and Broadway.
Really nice. It's nice to see those big windows in the corner and nice, it's just a really nice project of keeping an old building. But really dressing it up. So there's 3 that I should really notice in the last couple. So,
the windows were painted.
yes.
Oh.
I'll stop.
With
Um,
WPS, that area, anything? The developer getting anything?
No, I
together,
think
or-
they're still cleaning the site, it's my understanding there.
The BPS is working to remediate a portion of the site. I don't think the property's been acquired yet. There's still negotiation between WPS and buyer.
Any sense of when there'll be any kind of movement on there?
I think probably sooner than later.
Yeah, sooner or later. Yeah.
I think they're negotiating on that now.
Right.
Okay. Then the only other thing, oh, go ahead.
Just a complicated, very large site. So once that can be moved forward, it'll be changes to River and Town.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, my God, beautiful.
How many watch that?
Yeah.
Sure, we'll have a-
I don't care anymore, it's not my district.
You.
Yeah. Then the other thing is, with the changing, the interest rates and everything, do we need to rethink about how we do our TID dollars? Do we think we need to rethink the pay as you go, or maybe if that is, are there other strategies maybe we should be thinking about to help out some of these
We are
projects? or-
looking at all of them,
Okay,
right? We're looking at the possibility of more, normally, like say it is 80%, what if we do 95% for the first 5 years? Less going out, trying to restructure those in different ways, so we're working on that. We're looking at anything we can.
Because didn't Ted ask for more for the apartments on New York State?
I think you might have gotten festival. From my mom, maybe.
The one that
I think you gave them like 5% more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, no, we're looking at all of that, as possibilities.
it seems like a lot of developers are really struggle.
Oh, yeah, that's just great.
Even market projects, it used to be markets for the no-brainer.
Jeff, anything report from downtown Inc, please?
Yes, real quickly, I just wanted to share with each of you. This is the Small Business Saturday coming up on November 25th. The city of Green Bay is a very strong supporter of this initiative, and I wanted to just take a moment to thank each of you for the work that you do to support development and business. And on the back page is a listing of 70 small businesses, many that City of Green Bay initiatives assisted in making this possible. And while Small Business Saturday on November 25th is an important day, and there's a lot of national recognition about the importance of small business and the impact on the local economy, you know, many organizations support these businesses throughout the year. So just a quick little reminder that, you know, these are the businesses and many others to support during the holidays. And wanted to invite each of you on Broadway in downtown, having a news conference tomorrow morning at 11:15 at the Red Sculpture Park. You know, we usually have the Summer in the City launch. There are so many things on the docket for the holiday season that have a news conference to announce that. And just looking at the guide and the list of things, that will bring in excess of 150,000 people to the downtown in the months ahead. And so you're all invited to attend that 11:15 tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, the Peace Tree lighting is at 5:30 at the courthouse, but the city deck lighting from 6 to 8, bigger and better than ever before. There will be entertainment, horse-drawn wagon rides on Washington Street. The mayor will be there to say, say some nice words. But the city of Green Bay supports that initiative. The beautiful holiday lighting on the city deck is not only meant for national attention when the Packers are winning games on national TV, but it's to bring the community here and to show the vibrancy. And downtown residential, as one of you just mentioned, still is as strong as ever. And this is really becoming a growing neighborhood. So thanks for all your support in making that possible. And hope to see you out tomorrow night on the city deck. The lights will be beautiful and a lot to celebrate. Thank you.
And a parade.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, yeah, a parade on Saturday, we're promising
Parade.
temperatures in the 50s, got completely about the parade. But at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning.
It's always temperatures in the
Yeah.
50s for that.
Right, it's temperatures in the 50s all the time. No, a beautiful week for events like this, and so I hope to have a weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, is he on board?
I don't think so.
I am here.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, please.
We are participating in Small Business Saturday too. I had probably our most businesses this year participating. So on the downtown Green Bay website is a list of all the deals. So be sure you come out and shop small. And we are doing our winter farmers market indoor, obviously. That helps a lot. I have 2 locations in the Green Bay Plaza where we meet this Saturday, the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th Saturdays from 9 till 1 p.m.
Fantastic, thank you. Brooke, are you, I think you're on there, okay, Brooke. I thought you were. Maybe not. All right. Any other questions or comments for the mayor, or? If not, or, you know,
Motion to adjourn it.
Motion to adjourn,
Second.
and second by Kathy, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, next meeting is December 12th, thank you, next meeting.
December.